Some say that South Africa will do away with exchange controls, and hopefully one day that will happen. Until that happens, though, we've got a position that where South Africans have illegally schlepped money abroad, they're in contravention of exchange control regulations. And the implications for that are more dire than they have ever been because of problems with international drug trafficking and terrorism. Coupled with that, we've got a situation that SARS and SARB have concluded international disclosure arrangements with many of the tax havens that South Africa so dearly loved. The time to clean up is now, and to assist in that program, what SARB have done is that they've joined in with SARS in the voluntary disclosure program. SARS has provided the tax amnesty, if you will, and SARB is also providing a deal whereby you can regularize your exchange control violations. But the opportunity is only open from the 1st of November 2010 to 31 October 2011. How does it work? The ex-con VDP process is made available to all types of South Africans. You can see that the whole lot on the list. What you've got to have is an exchange control contravention prior to 28 February 2010. And it is available for people who have taken their funds offshore illegally or own unauthorized foreign assets. Please note that your nationality is not important in this matter. An exchange control contravention is an exchange control contravention regardless of what your nationality is. What are the benefits? Under the ex-con VDP process, the successful applicant will have been seen to regularize their offshore affairs and consequently will no longer be pursued by exchange control, and they will be able to keep their funds offshore. Does this give an opportunity for people to apply when they are already subject to investigation by SARB? And the answer to that is generally no. There's no formal process as there is with the tax VDP where it has to be accepted. But SARB are saying, look, we would like to regularize these matters and we will consider each request on its merits. What are the minimum requirements? Well, the applicant must have contravened regulations prior to 28 February 2010. Now have made complete disclosure of what has happened, and the applicant must submit a form in the prescribed form, etc., within the period 1 November 2010 to 31 October 2011. The applicant must have produced full proof of what the assets are, their market value, etc. Then the relief that is offered is that you will pay a levy on the market value of the assets. It will be a 10% levy if you are paying out of your foreign funds, or a 12% levy if you are paying out of your South African funds. Note, you will be granted the 4 million allowance before determining the fine if you have not already used it. So what's the fundamental difference between this VDP program and the offshore amnesty of 2004? The exchange control levy payable in terms of the VDP arrangement does not cover your tax liability as well. You will still have to go and clear that up with SARS if necessary. Remember, please, that if you have offshore inheritances, undisclosed offshore earnings that were made abroad, etc., you may not necessarily be required to use the VDP process. You may be able to deal with this in terms of Exchange Control Regulation D405. There are the details of where the amounts will be payable once your disclosure is accepted. And now it's only a question of how do you apply. Well, you download the form from the SARB website. There are two types of forms. There is an individual's form and there is a corporate form. They look something like the one on the screen at the moment there. Simply download and you'll see that there's not a lot to it. Where there is quite a lot is that we have to now submit it through the correct channels. Please don't send your VDP application to SARS. There are the following entry points: an authorized dealer, that would be a bank or a representative, or by post directly to SARB, or hand-delivered to the FinServ division. Can you make anonymous applications just to see if you would qualify and then make up your mind later? The answer to that is that they will not consider them. That's unlike SARS, who will look at anonymous applications. Who will process the VDP application? Note they're not having an independent amnesty unit as they had back in 2004. The application will be processed by the VDP division of FinServ. It will be staffed by SARB officials. There's nothing to be worried about there. People ask the question, they say, well, what about confidentiality and further actions and reprisals if you make an application, and will they come and arrest you at night? And the answer to that is, go and have a look at what happened in 2004. Look at the track record of SARB. They just don't do this sort of thing. Where you've made an application, they will process it and you'll be okay. Under what circumstances may relief be granted? They'll grant the relief if the applicant has contravened regulations prior to 28 February 2010, has submitted original signed documentation depicting all foreign assets. Note that bearer instruments, i.e. cash, will not be included in the program, and that you've got your application to SARB before 31 October 2011, and that you have furnished full details relating to all the structures and the market value, etc., of what you've got, again excluding bearer instruments. They're not prepared to give any levy on that. Then you will have to pay the levy within the time frame, and then you will be okay. Ask the question, do you take the deal? I've made myself unpopular by saying, take the deal or emigrate. The prospects for a person being caught with offshore undisclosed funds today are not pleasant. There's no way of distinguishing between a taxpayer having a bit of fun and international terrorism, international drug money, and the like. You don't want to get caught up in that. Take the deal. It's a generous offer.